What is up, and welcome to another game here. Adventurers League Online with Pocket Mission. If you're interested in joining us, just give us a good old-fashioned search, Pocket Mission. Could pull up our Warhorn. There's a few ways you can find a Discord link to join us on the server. Hope you like what you see here. Just a regular old Tier 1 game. Little sentimental action. Had some new players on the server here with us today. Kicking stream on early just to get it going while we're going to let people trickle in and get the character token set up and such. So, if you like what you see, once again, find a way to reach out. Would love to have you at the server as a fellow DM or a player as well. And we should be having an official start here in the next 10 minutes or so. So hang tight. Thank you. Hello, hello, and welcome. We're about at time. As you can see, I'm getting everybody's tokens completely ready. Got 3 out of 5, so just give me a second more for these last two. And welcome. Hope everyone's having a good day so far.
Yeah, well, good. How about yourself?
Pretty early for me over here, so trying to get that Pokemon team ready for that tournament this weekend. But other than that, chilling. Thank you for asking. So just a couple pre-game things as usual. We're not terribly strict on our safety tools here in the server, but we do use them. We're pretty lax. Some people have the cards and things they pull out. For me, I'm welcome for any way that you feel comfortable in bringing something to our attention. I don't really foresee anything. This is kind of my shtick at the beginning of every mod. I'm always like, I don't really foresee anything. But of course, we want to give the warning just in case. You do a quick check for any module warnings. Looks like they don't give any, but I guess if anybody has had like perhaps a recent loss in the family or anything like that, there may be a couple touchier things here and there. So just let me know, and we can kind of glance past things that might not be okay. In addition to that, we usually have a pretty open policy for streaming here in the server. So just kind of is a given usually of acceptance for that. And that being said, I will be streaming, so you'll be picking up those service hours, and I'll include that in the session logs and all that at the end to let you know how many we get, and hopefully we'll get that March document for the next season soon. Kind of curious what the season theme will be. Maybe I was thinking maybe it'd be like keys from the Golden Vault, because that kind of lines up pretty perfectly. But then again, not a whole lot of advertisement on that lately. Okay, so
Oh, ano?
I feel like my browser just got really slow all of a sudden, so I'm trying to refresh that and then get that last token set up, and we should be good to go. Okay. Apologize for the delay there. Should be all good to go. Any objections before we get started? All right. Everybody ready? Cool. Well, I'm Tally. Thanks for joining me today. As usual, I'd like to start with the code for your logs. You can also pick it up on the session log later or on Warhorn if you miss it. But we're going to be playing the Triple C, then S Dream -01-01. So that's CCC-SDREAM-0101 from Everywinter Spring. So I thought this would be a fun one to kind of throw in as we are approaching true springtime. And I'll give a quick little background as we're going to be starting in Elventree. I'm sure some of you are familiar with this little village, as it were. But for those that aren't, it's a surprisingly integrated town. It's pretty close to another settlement called Hillsfar, and there's been some pretty terrible things going on in this area as of late, especially this thing called the Great Law of Humanity. Don't have to get too far into this as it's pretty distasteful, but a lot of very racist views, and they're forbidding non-humans from entering the city. The only reason I even bring it up really is that Elventree was actually quite a haven during this time for all sorts of people. Lots of elves originally living here, treetop domiciles and all sorts of things. But it was a Harper refuge during certain critical moments of the past that I'm sure you guys have probably even taken part in. But the where we're going to pick up on this adventure is with an elderly man who is putting out a call for adventurers or explorers to help him reach a remote destination out from Elventree. He's looking for quite solid assistance because he is a bit advanced in his age. Needs a little more assistance than the typical traveler, so he's looking for people to kind of help him out, be patient with them and such. And of course he's going to have a little bit of coin to offer for this if that's more your fancy. And then just a couple more random hooks to throw at you. If anybody, player or character, this might just kind of ring a bell, has ever played DDAL 3-1, Harried in Hillsfar, this old man is actually one of the characters in that adventure's father, a person named Ebbins. So you might already know of this person, and you might be eager to help a respected person in the Dandelion Fields community. In addition to that, you might just be curious about elven magic and be nearby here in the Cormanther Forest, and of course hearing a small rumor of looking for some ancient elven ruins would be irresistible to you. And as I mentioned before, this is a haven for harpers. There's a quite renowned harper leader named Elenil Elacidil. She's a noted bard and diplomat for the harpers. She's usually hanging out around here, and of course she kind of owes a few favors to this guy, so if you're a harper, that could also be a tie-in. We'll pick up right here in Elventree, in the home of this elderly man, Calvin Shepherd, and we'll pretty much just dive right into it, and so we can jump into a quick intro, as you guys have all answered this call for your various reasons that you could share in just a moment. You find yourself in this pretty wonderful, fantastical settlement where treetop canopies are graced with these huts and nice living areas, and they're all connected through walkways and little bridges and such. There are some things going on ground level, but it's mostly meeting areas and such. There are a few homes though, and you find yourself outside of a pretty unassuming cottage in the central part of Elventree. It seems to be a pretty typical human construction here, featuring mud and wood walls and a thatch roof. It's got a few decent-sized rooms, including a hall to receive guests such as yourself. And you find yourself here on a cool fall day. The shutters to the cottage are thrown open, letting in this nice breeze. The area is brightly lit, and You find yourself at ease here as the scent of dried leaves just kind of waft in and kind of just bring in the sound of the harvest echoes from a distance away. You see this elderly man seated there in his hall there, and he says, you must be the ones. I'm very grateful you came to answer a call such as mine. I know it's perhaps not the most glorious of missions, but you look like you would know your way around the forest. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Calvin Shepherd, a longtime resident here of Elventree. Well, it would be rude of me not to ask you of your names. I see we got quite an interesting crew has answered my call, but all are welcome here in Elventree. I'm glad some of our distant problems are not quite as present. But don't let me dither, please. You there. And we'll start with token order. So I'm Sanazara. If you want to introduce yourself, you could tell us anything you like mechanically, and then if you want a little DM inspiration for any of you guys, just maybe give me a good solid reason why you would have perhaps answered this call, or why you might be in Elventree or around the Cormanther Forest. Sanazara.
All right, this is Sanazara. She's a bugbear who is studying to be an alchemist, and she's in this particular area to get some rare herbs and reagents for her studies. Therefore, when she was here, she heard about the need of this person and thought that maybe he could be a kind of guide to tell her, which reagents to look for, and so she decided to help him out.
Good. We have a little bit of traveling in the forest. It sounds like you'll be a great asset. Thank you for coming. And you there, please. Is it Madeline or Madeline?
Madeline.
Okay.
You see a small girl with green hair, which is a ghostwise halfling. She traveled to Elventree, and well, for no reason actually. She wanted to buy supplies to start adventuring, but then she realized she spent it all for the components for Plant Familiar. She wasn't even able to buy some rations. So, hearing of a job nearby, she took it, and now she's here. Oh, you also see a small book on her hip, and it's filled with spells. Mechanically, she's a wizard, level 1. Enter.
Oh, I'm very glad to have you, Madeline. I'm sure we'll have a nice, easy jaunt through the forest. Nothing to worry about. And if anything, that fellow seems quite strong. You there. Please, Ivar.
Hi, everybody. My character's name is Ivar. What you see before you is a 6'6" Topaz Dragonborn. He is a 4th level fighter, and he has these gauntlets of ogre power on him, and that's it.
All right, good. Hopefully we won't need any muscle, but it's always good to have around, I suppose. And, well, don't let me be rude. Please there, introduce yourself. Nightfall?
Oh man, you don't need any muscle. That might have been a wasted trip. I was in between Spelljammers and I thought, hey, let's go to that town that people talk about that has fey magic and stuff. And I get here and there's like you looking for help, and then you say you don't need strong people. That's like, I don't know what they're gonna help you with unless you want me to carry you. I have fought many a battle in space, and that's kind of what I do.
Now, I may be getting on in years, but I don't think I will need to be carried quite yet, but I'll keep that in my back pocket, if you will. No, I hope we don't have any need for any real danger, but that's why I'm calling. There's not a whole lot known about this place, but I think, is that your companion there? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm quite a cute little fella. Please, tell me, what are you? Kippy? Okay, we'll pause on and just come right back. Let me know. And yeah, so we'll jump you in on that, of course. But just to continue, he says, "Good. Well, I guess let's get right to it. I'm really needing a new lease on life, if I'll admit. As you can see, if I don't do something soon, I won't be long for this world, and there's still ever so much to do. And well, I may be old, but I know an even older acquaintance, a half-elven friend of mine, and he mentioned this old elven shrine just to the south of here, commemorating a forgotten elvish deity. It said this site features a natural spring which can restore youth and vitality to the old." And as he says this, you just see this gleam in his eyes as this is his true desire. It said the site features the spring only under the light of the harvest moon. And if you've been paying attention to the sky lately, you'll know that the moon is set to arrive on the morrow. Well, I know this does seem a bit outrageous, but it's all I have. Well, I don't think I can make any trip through the forest on my own, so I have this bit of coin to offer. I hope you will accept. What do you say?
Don't worry, old man. We got you.
What? I'm sorry. Can you repeat Can you summarize it? Basically, he wants us to take him to some town for revitalization.
It's an ancient elven shrine just to the south of here with, I guess, in layman's terms, it may be called a fountain of youth. I would like to find this, but it only appears underneath the harvest moon, and our time is short. The harvest moon.
We can do that. We can do that.
Good. It was my only hope to travel with a few younger and more able-bodied individuals such as yourselves. Well, I'll try to provide some generous compensation. And he kind of gestures towards a little modest purse full of silvers and gold coins. And, of course, you will always be welcome here in my home anytime you come to Elventree. A place to stay, a bite to eat, at my table, that will always be here for you. And yet, we should probably get the job done first, though, eh?
Okie dokie.
And then, Kippy, if that was you, do you want to give us a intro?
I don't think Kippy's with us in the voice chat.
Okay. Alright, he says, well, prepare yourself. We'll just take a short walk through the wood. And, of course, general things for regular settlement. If there's any last-minute purchases here before you leave, you could, just general PHB stuff, anything you kind of want to do. But he indicates to meet him at the edge of town, and when you're all ready, you would find him there with the nice little travel cloak on, looking spiffy, a little more, probably as the view of his former self. He seems to have shaken off a bit of that, withering he's taken, and seems to be standing a bit straighter, shaking the dust off, as it were, and he says, Good. Didn't take too long. Well, I love this place. And he kind of just gestures on back towards Elventree, and you can see just a jovial attitude amongst the people here as they all kind of mingle, and everyone's very friendly towards another. Cooking fires starting to stir up all around on the ground floor as people walk from one little tree house to another above you. And yet, we must leave it again. It has been a while, let's say. Starts to take a nice trot off a little dirt path into the trees, motioning for you guys to follow.
This is a very nice place. If I may ask, how long have you been here? Living in this place.
Many years. I've seen some good and bad happen. Of course, I've had some other dealings around the Moonsea. I even have a son out there somewhere. It's been a while since I've reconnected, but that'll be time for all sorts.
Did someone drop?
I think maybe Corgi's having some connection issues, but no worries.
I asked. I'm sorry. What's the guy's name? Tell us.
Yeah, his name is Calvin Shepherd.
I asked Calvin. You said you're at the end of your time. Is there some kind of? Is this by disease? Is this by just natural life?
I hope no disease, but no, I'm just getting on in years. And I know I've heard of this magical fountain. Perhaps it could keep me alive a while longer.
Well, I hope we find it.
It shouldn't be too difficult. For a while, we'll follow some of these deer paths and such. Although we're going to try to get there by the pure dark of night. But with the moonlight overhead, it shouldn't be too hard to follow the path. I fear eventually we may have to rough it a little, but that's why you guys are here. We'll forge a way through. And sure enough, the day kind of starts to wear on as you guys have a pretty cheerful trip through. And it's not hard to follow the deer paths. They cut right through, making it quite easy. Every once in a while, you'll kind of come into an area you could see that is hasn't been traveled by any humanoids or anything in quite a while, and you'll have to clear some brush and such. You can see that the harvest moon starts to peek out overhead. It gives you guys some dim light. And yeah, it's about a 2-hour trek for here at the beginning. And as the travel continues, you start to feel kind of that static building in the air around you, kind of an impending thunderstorm perhaps. And finally Calvin kind of stops and he gazes up towards the sky and the moon, and he looks to where the trail kind of starts to fade, and he said, not sure. The directions I got were indicating we should keep going right through here, and yet the path seems to kind of deteriorate. What do you make of it? And if you would like to make a group perception check from you all.
I see nothing.
Alright, just let me know on Kippy when you're kind of coming in, but I'll just go with the 4. Group check is successful, and you guys can kind of see some breaks in the twigs and the branches and such that indicate the deer have kind of continued their path forward in a certain way. And if you would point this out to him, he's okay, good. My old eyes, I would have missed those details. I'm very grateful to have you here." And all of a sudden, his compliment there, as it were, is broken by like a howling through the night. Oh, and then it's another one goes. It seems pretty close, a little bit further ahead on the path. And he says, "We're going to have to be careful. Creatures of the night will start to stir in the forest. You never know what you might find here, I've heard." And as you guys would continue a little bit, perhaps a little more warily, you come across this scene that I will reveal to you. It's on the same map, just a little further down. Might need to make the map a little bigger, or just scroll down a bit. Is you come across a doe surrounded by 5 wolves, and they're kind of circling this poor frightened animal and kind of leaping forward and nipping, clearly about to close in for the kill. Calvin kind of stops in the brush there. He kind of looks towards the group and says, "It's up to you to interfere if you like. I kind of feel bad for the little doe, but then again, such is the way of things."
Yeah, Ivar definitely will. He's going to throw a javelin at this one.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a quick attack roll.
19 to hit for 8 damage.
And that was just to hear this one right in front of you, right?
Yeah. And this, just regular javelin.
Okay, as your javelin like plunges back into this creature, it's totally gazed forward at this prey it has, and it gives a loud yelp and suddenly turns towards you, fangs bared, javelin just still sticking right out of the back of it, and with the loud yelp, it tears off into the brush, as well as this one, as your initial attack has seemed to frighten off a couple of them. And then for these other 3, we will roll initiative.
Oh, why can't they just follow their wolf brothers?
Actually rolled like really high on initiative with them. So I think in spirit here, I was kind of debating on on how I would handle this, but I think I would just kind of play it out naturally. And hey, it can be a little grim sometimes in life. As 2 of them run off into the trees, the other 3 look just famished, and they're desperate to get this meal. This one feels challenged by your group and rushes forward, as would this one. While this one tries to take care of the deer back here and secure the meal for the group. And so it'll just be a regular old attack. Oh man, I was afraid of this. Looks like a dirty 20 to hit the deer, and no matter what, it would end up killing the deer. So of course there's things that can happen, but hey, this is wildlife, that ain't like this is good and evil necessarily, I guess. But anywho, yeah, the wolf kind of just tears into the deer. It's like helpless. It kind of draws it to the ground and fills its muzzle with blood, assuring that meal for the others after they, of course, take care of these intruders. And we'll just have them run up, and I'll just roll a die to see. Odds it's Ivor. Oh, yep, looks like it'll be Ivor, as they'll both try to jump in on what looks like a prime target there in Ivor.
gonna hit.
Let's see. We got a 21 and a 16.
21 hits.
Okay. All right. This will be piercing damage. Looks like 7. No, I'm sorry, 9. My bad. 9 piercing, and if you'll make me a strength save. Okay, you are knocked prone. Okay, so you'll take that 9, knocked prone. That's
Got it.
into their turn, and now it's your turn, so you can get right back up.
All right, I got a silvered mace. Does a 13 hit?
Oh, it does. You feel the bones crunch underneath the heavy mace.
That's my turn.
With the 8. The creature is very wounded. It kind of picks itself back up on its 4 legs. Half of it looks like Glenn from Walking Dead. If we just want to give a quick description. Maggie. Okay, my bad. Nightfall. Go ahead.
Or she's gonna get the big ass sword on her back and slash at the wolf. They are both pristine, right?
This one here on the left was just grievously wounded by Ivar.
Maybe.
A 13 hits. You guys feel like you're kind of being pushed to really focus as you were perhaps having to shake the rust off after a little bit of a relaxing, but you guys nail it on the head. For an 8, would you like to give a flare on the demise of this wolf?
She's just trying to knock the wolf out, not really kill it. As someone in touch with their more wolfy side, she doesn't like hurting her cousins like 20 times removed.
Okay, so with the blunt end, you just give a merciful dink on the side of its head that's not halfway caved in, and it just kind of slumps down to wake up so disoriented hours later.
Now you run off, little one. It's gonna say to the other, and that's my turn. Thanks.
Okay. Madeline?
She opens up a spell book and says, "Stay back, Mr. Calvin." And she looks to this one wolf that's still standing and says, "Sit, boy." She casts Mind Sliver. Apologies, I still haven't made. I would need the wolf to finally do a. Oh wait, no save. I'll just roll. Sorry. Oh, intelligence save.
Yeah, it fails with like a 6. So.
Okie dokie. That's 2 psychic, and we'll remove 2 from its next saving throw. Enter.
Okay. The eyes of this wolf just kind of glaze over for a moment as it kind of seems to like snarl, almost as if it were sleeping and having a terrible dream, and then it eventually kind of like shakes it off, like with a big ruffling shake of its mane, as if it were coming out of water, but it seems to be a little like disturbed by it as much as a wolf can be, I guess. Successful attack, and Sanazara.
All right, Sanazar is going to move down to here and is going to attempt to push the wolf 5 feet back.
To be contesting check.
Yep.
Man, these wolves are rolling pretty high off the bat, but thankfully they're just wolves. But that would be a 19.
All right, so pushing 5 feet back.
Okay, so I still win. You rolled even better. So 5 feet back.
Then I'm going to continue my movement, and I'm going to, try to shush it to, push it toward the corpse of the deer to have it eat, and, just basically let it know we're done.
I guess if you'll give me an animal handling check, we'll do disadvantage since you already did an action there. Guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, so on its turn, let me just roll do a random DM roll. Okay, so it will listen to you. It sees like one of the wolves there, kind of. It looks to be dead, more or less. And these are definitely pack creatures. So it will return, kind of slowly slink over here to the other one. And as long as no one would stop them, would try to pick up the corpse and carry it off into the brush. Unless anyone would oppose that.
I'm good with that. They could eat too.
Nature is beautiful.
And so these
Except when nature is hungry and you are the only thing in sight.
Fair enough, as these are very instinctual creatures that were acting in that manner, so they're not necessarily going to be hell-bent to fight to the death. So I guess with some mercy from your part, you'll let the couple wolves go, and, circle of life as they'll take on their kill. Calvin comes up and says, "Very admirably done. I will admit I'm impressed. I thought we were about to be having some wolf steaks. But you lot did the right thing. Shame to see a creature die, but, as you said, everything must eat. Very wise of you, Sanazara." Well, as you can see, perhaps a bit of muscle was needed after all. Didn't mean to downplay anything before, but yeah, it could be a little rough out here in the forest. So let's keep our wits about us. If nothing else, I suppose we could continue on.
Oh wait, I sense movement from behind.
A wild Kippy appears.
Is my audio working properly?
Yes.
Yep, yeah, this would be a good time for an intro before we move to the next scene.
Sure. You see what looks like a blue scaled amphibian creature as it's running, scales glimmering shiny from probably rain. Oh, even though I don't think it was raining, I'm not sure. And upon arriving, I said, "I'm sorry, I'm late. I'm sorry. Wait, what did I miss? Oh, hi. I think I was supposed to be here. My name's Skippy, and well, I'm really good at moving around. I'm also good at flips. And well, I want to be helpful, and mechanically speaking, a scout rogue."
Ah, I thought you were being a little quiet there. I'll admit, you may be the most adorable creature I think I've ever seen in my life. But then again, I may be partial to that type of creature. But I don't want to bleed the universe to another too much, but damn it, I love Mudkip. Oh, excuse me, I lose myself. Alzheimer's perhaps kicking in early. Anyways. Gotta catch them all, they say. Anyway, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but... And just for your perspective as just a very like aquatic aligned creature, you do kind of feel like an impending kind of weather change going on. I kind of noticed like it seemed like a static of like an impending thunderstorm, but you feel like that rain that just gives you that little bit more maybe coming soon. And I guess I'm just curious from like a mechanical standpoint. Are you? It said, are you like your race is Lokatha?
Yeah,
And so how do you stay wet? It has to be like every hour, right?
that's why I have a bag of holding.
And then okay, so you just sploosh on in there.
Mm-hmm. And if it's not enough, I pour water from my water skins onto myself.
Yeah, I feel like unless I don't think there's any point in penalizing people for wanting to play a race. So I was just curious how your take on it was. So it was pretty cool. All right. So if everyone is willing to move on, he says, "I think we could continue on, but I have no sight of the trail at this point. And I'll admit I got a little bit turned around there in all the hubbub. perhaps you might be able to find a little bit more of a way forward. And if everybody can make me another group perception check.
What sense are we using here?
Yeah, we are crushing it.
Either sense is fine. This is just a general group perception, so however you would want to. This is kind of, it would be like a. Actually, let me read that because that might.
Oh, come on.
So this reflects check or travel over time in a sense. It's not really one discrete check. So I think in your case, if you get a bonus from like hearing or sight, you would still get that, but things such as like guidance and stuff wouldn't work. So
No worries.
keep in mind, I have not decreed any success or failures, and everybody was given DM inspiration at the start for giving me a good reason to be here, I suppose. So if anybody wants to use that, they can, or they can save it for later, of course. I'll do a re-roll or advantage. So I know sometimes DMs do one or the other, but I like to give you the option. So let's see. Without further ado, looks like you kind of struggled to find a clear way forward, but eventually you kind of just feel this old man's gaze kind of boring into each of your backs as you're kind of walking around and peering and stuff at the edge of this clearing to look of a way forward through the trees. Eventually, it just seems like you kind of got to just do it. So it's a little rough as you start to push through. You feel like the thorns in the tree branches that almost like seem to try to grab at you, and kind of got to hack and push your way through. Old man, he just kind of stays in the back and lets you guys do most of the hard work. Seems to do a good enough job huffing and puffing along to keep up. As any kind of time you seem a little discouraged, he'll be like, come on, team, just a little bit further. My youth depends on it. I've got so many business endeavors and places to go and things to do. And
Don't worry, old timer. You're gonna find your fountain, and it's not gonna be like Mercury.
Mercury?
I'm like, the substance?
As far as I know, that was the real world of water of youth. People in the Middle Ages were drinking mercury to live longer. Except did the opposite.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. You just sparked my mind. I read this thing about how people used to take like radiation medicine, and this dude like had his total body rotted out from the inside out for them to finally be like, oh, you know what? Perhaps this is not a good idea. But
I don't think this is working. Don't worry, the 20 times a charm.
yeah,
Sure.
just keep trying. But anywho, that's totally aside. As you see a group of bats. Sorry, but eventually the pushing through the underbrush kind of gives way to a little bit of a kind of break in the trees, and you see a little clearing here with a very colorful array of mushrooms, kind of in a circle. Some of the more fey-aligned of you would totally recognize this as a fairy ring, a little mushroom ring. And sure enough, there are 3 of these little fairy sprites kind of huddled in the middle of it. Unfortunately, they don't look too happy or in good spirits as they normally would be, you'd assume, as instead they're being like totally plagued by these bats that have come swarming out from the forest for what they would see as a quick meal. And you see kind of a larger, more masculine, I suppose, of the sprites with probably his spouse and a little baby sprite too. They're kind of all huddled inside the ring, and kind of in a tiny voice, the male one in the front, he kind of sees the group and is like a last ditch effort. He cries like, help, they won't let us get back home, we were so close, oh no, as the bats kind of totally swarm him, and he's just swatting all around, and they're starting to tear and nip at his wings and such, and you guys are free to engage however you see fit.
Well, Chippy is from the Feywild as well. And I'll help. What you need? Oh god. Do the bats look hostile?
Oh yeah, they don't. I mean, they don't seem naturally evil necessarily, but as you kind of call out like I'll help you. He's crying out, the child cries out, "Please help my dad! I think they think we're bugs or something. I'm not a bug."
They're hungry. Takes out some rations, starts tearing them into itty bitty little bite-sized meat, and starts sprinkling it over here. Bats, over here. Go. Here's food. Sprinkle. Over here. Trying to attach to them and attract their attention away from the pixies and towards self.
Go ahead and make a animal handling check.
Snacks. Oh,
It's not very effective, perhaps.
we don't know.
You use attract. It's not very effective.
Understandable. Hopefully it is.
And
Even somewhat.
it actually,
I'm joking.
yeah,
I'm
these
joking. Sorry.
Mm-mm. Don't worry.
yeah. So not everything's supposed to be super critically tough necessarily. So you can always choose your own route. This is like a choose your own adventure book, and Kippy, you kind of hop forward and throw some of your rations out there, and yeah, you just make a call out to the animals to leave them alone and take that instead. With like a little bit of emotional nudging in your voice, you notice that they do start to kind of take a bit of notice, and it's DC 11, I'll just tell you. So no, it's pretty close, but yeah, they turn away and they start to eat. Once again, same as the wolves, these aren't like possessed evil creatures as we so often fight in these games, but instead these are just wild creatures, and so they'll take the offering, and they start to just eat there for a moment, and then scatter off back into the night for their next adventure, as it were. The pixies kind of come forward and says, "You'll have to talk to my wife here, Nimberly. I'm sorry." And he kind of steps back as the little one kind of comes up and starts to like wrap a little bandage around like his wing at the base of it where it got a little nipped by the bats. The female sprite comes up and says, "Well, hello, thank you so much. Well, we were just trying to get home here to our realm. But you may call me Nimberly. Why are you traveling here so late at night? Although I must admit I'm eternally grateful."
Old man here wants to not be old anymore.
Yes.
To be clear, he wants to be young, not dead.
With like a rasping clearing of his throat. Yes, please excuse me. I'm Mr. Shepherd. I've just heard of an old ancient elven shrine out here, and it only would appear into the harvest moon, you see. Nimberly. Oh, I think I know the place. I could at least offer you a little information in return for what you've done. That place, yeah, it was an ancient fairy shrine to a forgotten deity long ago. But anytime we've gone across lately, it's got some really bad energy. And I mean, sometimes it's not so bad, but it just ripples with such power. And then other times it's just very, very dark. We don't really go around there too much, especially the children. They're just not allowed.
Choo-choo.
Ooh, it sure does. But I can give you a few directions there. But I don't think we'd be willing to go. It's kind of a frightful experience, and I think we better get my husband back and get him to some rest. And she'll kind of give you like some rough directions of how to proceed forward, which essentially will give any survival checks with advantage and such as that. So she'll kind of help.
Hey, are you sure I cannot pretend your name is Preston and mark it on my map?
That's actually my daughter's name.
Oh, can't pretend to be Preston then. Good stuff.
How convenient. Well, here, especially you gave up some of your food there. we tried to do the same, but they weren't having it. But maybe you guys would like it." And she offers you each 1 day's worth of rations. It's vegetarian and quite filling, I assure you, as it surely is. And she also will give you a pretty cool little trinket. She says, "This should help light your way. It's not the brightest thing, but it does get awful dark here in the night." And she gives each of you a little fairy lantern. It's a trinket that provides light, as per the spell, continual light, but only at the intensity of a candle. And she will also give you guys a glowing vial of dew. She says, "I collected that this morning, actually. It's quite refreshing," and it functions as a potion of healing. So,
Ooh.
from what I understand, that, like, since this is a trinket, each of you would get to keep that fairy lantern. And I mean, it's not like, I guess it's not the same light as like a torch, but it's something. I don't know. I'd have to look to see, what is a candle, like 5 feet or something?
Mm.
But I mean, it's something, at least if you're like trapped in the darkness and all you didn't have anything but this little cool fairy lantern. I mean, there's that.
Mm.
So I'll make I think I didn't put that on my current rewards thing, but I'll make a point to, because that is kind of like a permanent thing you guys get, I guess. So kind of a neat little trinket if you guys like to keep up with those.
Oh, thank you.
That's very kind of you.
You say it's very kind.
Mm.
Missed opportunity.
Hello. Okay, so without further ado, Nimberly says, "I wish I could help you out a little more, but I'm sure you guys will make it there. Well, I guess we're gonna go now. Thank you for saving us."
Wait, quick question.
Yes?
The circle leads back home?
Yes, to our domain.
Well, no, I promise to help. I'll come back later. Okay, Kippy looks like he wants to jump in there. Like, trying to get back home, but can't. But promise to help, this man is named Calvin?
Yep, Calvin.
Okay. Okay, a promise was made. I'll come back.
Oh,
I promise.
we would love to
Take
have
care
you.
now. Stay safe.
Okay. All right. So as you guys leave behind the sprites, they kind of start to swirl in a little tornado of pixie dust that eventually fades into the night, and they seem to be gone, just off in their domain of delight. At this point, Calvin comes up and says, "Oh, well, this has been a little more eventful than I originally thought. And yet, I fear we may have a bit more to go. Look ahead." And he kind of points beyond the fairy ring, and you can see where the trees start to drop off a little bit, and the ground starts to get a little more marshy and sunken in. He says, "Never a good time trudging through a swamp, and yet I trust in your guidance. I can tell you are the right people to hire for the job." And kind of same as before, if you guys would make a group perception check. So you guys have succeeded at one and failed at one, which will come into play a little bit later. Nothing too critical, of course, so don't feel too bad for the second one or anything. And this one looks like it will be a resounding success.
Madeline would like to cover her incompetence by sharing a few things like, back home, to prevent from getting lost, we used to wear our clothes backwards and whatnot.
It's true. Kippy puts on the jacket backwards because Kippy actually is not really fond of wearing thick clothing.
Calvin gives like a hearty laugh. "Oh, I guess if we're all doing it." And he kind of puts his like travel coat on, his dusty old stitched up jacket. He takes it off and kind of shakes it out a little and puts it back on backwards, and kind of continues on with like a kind of a humorous gait. and perhaps it's the good spirits there, or perhaps it really is the closed backwards. But you guys are able to pick your way through the more marshier territory here without sinking in anywhere or getting lost or any of that. And you find yourself coming across yet another scene here in a swampland. Just kind of throw you guys down here. As you see, kind of breaking the monotonous terrain, there are 3 huts that seem to be not like so recently erected, but they don't seem like a permanent fixture here necessarily. A little campfire crackling merrily, and one somewhat elderly looking lady kind of hanging out outside one of the tents. Calvin stops and he says, I don't recognize her. I'll perhaps proceed carefully, but just let me know what you want me to do. I'm
Does the place smell like anything?
kind of just, the usual aromas of the swamps. I hear they're quite nice.
So are we seeing actually 3 huts?
Yeah, you guys can see the huts over there, and you can see kind of the figure of what seems to be kind of a somewhat older looking lady. And she doesn't really notice you guys, and doesn't seem to have any, she's just chilling. She's hanging out outside the hut.
Nice, guys. I may not be from around here, but even I have heard of hags. And they're like 3 old ladies, and then they are terrible and they cast spells into this stuff, and they don't pay taxes.
They don't pay taxes. Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's the one redeeming quality, but eating children, that sort of stuff, it kind of like gives tax evaders a bad name.
Do they bribe children with candy?
I don't know. When I was a kid, there was no hags around. Perhaps that's why I'm not a kid anymore.
This sounds scary. Maybe we should leave.
But what if they know about the pool, the pool that Calvin's looking for?
Okay, you guys stay back here. I'm gonna talk to her and perhaps readjust her attitude.
I'll come with you.
Okay, let's go. Let's go talk to this possible hag, tax evader.
Hags? Oh, you're right. That's bad business. You just motion me forward if it's okay. I'll hang back. Calvin says.
Lady, excuse me. What's your name? Is it Auntie something?
You come across and you get a clearer view, and you see what kind of appeared to be a more elderly woman from afar, now appears to be more of middle age, half-elven woman. What kind of gave her that appearance from afar is her hair is unnaturally white, and it just kind of glistens in the moonlight. She kind of turns towards you as you approach, kind of holds her hands up as a sign of no danger, and she says, "Oh, no, auntie. No, I'm an auntie of none, and yet you could call me Agatha. Close enough, I suppose. Agatha Bordock is the name, and who might you be?"
Well, we are not hags, and we are wondering if you are a hag because we're looking for one, perhaps. Hags, they evade taxes, they eat children, and such thing.
A hag, if you will. Hasn't been for long, but I guess you could call me that now. No sense in this, guys. And she kind of like suddenly appears much older, and her skin takes on like a greenish tinge as she reveals herself as a green hag. But you can still see by the look of her that she seems to be young in the term of hag ways, I suppose. She's a young hag, for what it's worth. But
Okay.
she continues on.
Okay, I
Yes.
have to ask, how do you evade taxes so easily? I need to learn that trick.
Well, we never stay in one spot. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with us whenever we're, here, then we're there, then we're nowhere. As for now,
So you've been to a lot of places. Maybe you know where a pool would be, right? We're kind of looking for one.
Yes, we're looking for a pool of youth or something. There's an old man we're trying to help, and he wants to be young again, and I'm afraid he's not up for any hag pacts or deals, trades, what have you. But we just want the location, and perhaps so you can tell us if you prefer infants, toddlers, or young children, and gonna be on our way.
Well, it sounds like, as these things go, perhaps we may have a bit of things to offer one another. Now, I've been tasked with something myself. Well, I could be willing to give you the information you seek, and perhaps even another thing to entice you or two. And yet, of course, everything comes with a price. Now let's drop the pretense. I know you're not alone. I can see them there. Beckon your friends forward and let's make a deal.
Reciprocity, yes, I remember this. Is waiting for everyone else to come over here.
Alright. Old man Calvin approaches, but definitely stays kind of to the back, more at your side there, Kippy. Madeline, you have a kind of a fun little trip, bouncing across the log, a little hop to the land. Good. Now, as I said, you seek the pool. I know of this. I can use my magic to see. I can see what else I may be able to share. And yet, I would like for you to share with me, each and every single one of you. I promise what I have will be quite worth your while. Now, I really need one thing from each of you. It doesn't have to be worth much in the sense of coin, and yet I need it to be very much in value to you, each individual in particular. I am a collector of memories. I know your item will hold the arcane power of sympathy. I relish in those feelings. So, would each one of you be willing to pass on an item and share with me the significance? And if you will, I will reward you in my own way, of course, and it'll be quite worth your while. And just for the sake of keeping it orderly, we'll go roll 20 order this time. So if Kippy, if you could say if you want to or not, or anything else you want, I suppose, too, and then we'll move to the next person.
Am I gonna forget? As someone who's from there and has been through multiple domains before, Kippy would very much has been told about the rule of reciprocity and other things. But Kippy also is aware that when deals are made, sometimes what's taken is more so than what's received in return. But Kippy will ask, "Am I gonna forget if I give you, if I pick something?"
The deal must be equal. It seems you're very aware of how things work in the Fae. Reciprocity, as it were. Almost said that right.
Reciprocity?
So it's pretty close, but a favor given is a favor earned. And yet I'll
Kippy's
allow
gonna-
you your imagination to fill in the gaps. But please, don't you have something?
He's going to look through their bag, and let's see. Okay. Well, Kippy is going to take out what looks to be a. I need to look at this size. This thing. Oh, okay, okay. Okay. Kippy will take out a piece of card that has a tear in it. It's got lots of folds. It's got wrinkles. It's got burn marks. It's got dirt, but it's wrapped in this material so that it doesn't fall apart. Hippie will say, this I held on to this ticket. It's when I first, watched the performances at the Witchlight Carnival. And when I watched it, it's when I learned that I also want to be part of it. And so I practiced and they trained me, and I was supposed to perform, but something happened. I ended up going to school instead. I was gone for more than a year, and so I haven't been able to come back ever since. I haven't even and the day I left was supposed to be my debut performance as an opening act. I think they're still waiting for me. I hope. I don't know. I haven't been there in a while. So it's a used ticket.
These emotions weigh heavy, I can tell. Perhaps you need to be relieved. And she collects your item and your memory. And you could still, as this sequence continues, you could still kind of remember your original memory of seeing that and collecting that ticket and finally getting to break out. And yet it just seems like it's almost like water kind of fading through. And she kind of turns to the next. You there, Dragonborn. Come. I have what you seek, but do you have what I seek?
I think so. I hold up this veteran's cane, a common magic item, and I earned this during an adventure called "The Care and Maintenance of the Rookery," and God, I can't remember what that adventure was about. But basically, I go into some spiel about
It's like
how I
a
like.
zoo or a reserve in the Feywild for animals.
Yeah,
You were either my party member there or not.
I don't remember.
Okay.
June
2022. June 2022. That's when I played it. So, yeah.
This was
You know
April 22nd.
All right. Different dungeon master then. All right.
So she collects the cane and she says, this is a hazy memory. And yet, it has been with you long enough, at least. I can still feel the connection. It'll have to do. And you feel the faintest memory of that adventure. it was almost already gone anyways. And yet now you're like, what did I do there? I think it was a zoo? No, not sure. But she says, all right. So far, so good. I'm pleased. And yet, I could hold a few more. Don't be shy now. Come forward. And Senazara, how do you feel about that?
So Zenazara will look at Calvin and make sure he stays put and doesn't get near her. Then she'll walk up and inform her, I've been holding on to this through all of my excavations. She's an archaeologist. Until I find the great artifact that I've been searching for. However, as my career has changed, I may not have a use for it anymore. And I never did find that great artifact for me to validate this. And I'll hand her a spell scroll to detect magic.
She takes it, says, your magic offerings are always appreciated. And yet, perhaps the great artifact still looms in your future. Maybe even perhaps something you would not want to find. Your memory is gratefully accepted. And she'll take the scroll, and you almost feel like a part of yourself starts to kind of dissipate, and those nights you probably had stayed awake trying to decide which true path you should pursue, tearing yourself apart, the life of an archaeologist, or perhaps just sticking on to help people as an adventurer. And in a way, you maybe find a little bit of peace in that sense, but in another way, you may feel a little forlorn as you've kind of let that piece of you go officially, I would say. And she would gratefully accept that and say, "We're not done yet. I sense very unique memories in you. Great for the collection, please." And she motions her kind of a clawed finger towards Nightfall.
Guys, we are seriously making a deal with a hag. Just asking. We're making a deal with a hag. Okay, yes, that sounds like a great idea. Here, have this thing. It's from when I bravely saved a whole clan of pixies that were being harassed by were-bats coming from hell and trying to eat their family and their friends and everything else. And there was perhaps some space monsters too. I'm not too sure. Here, and had the trinket from the fairies like half an hour ago.
Oh my gosh. She's like, I do like this thing. And a very fresh, recent memory. They're not usually as juicy as that. Thank you. Normally, ones this fresh, you gotta take by your own sheer will.
And you guarantee you'll forget it, right?
I'm sorry, what?
And you guarantee you'll forget about it, right?
You almost seem a little too eager to, and yet, perhaps I'm doing you a favor as well. And yeah, the memory starts to fade.
Oh, no.
And she says, "A deal is being made indeed, and it is almost complete. My favor is being very, very much gathered. And yet, I may have something for you in particular. A very special little thing. Hopefully you would appreciate this more than the last trinket given. And yet, I still hunger. One last memory, please. You there. I sense something special there. Come. Don't be afraid." And she even will kind of like push her way through all the way to meet you there, Madeline, face to face. "Please." Her hands like outstretched, like almost in a bowl shape.
Madeline rummages through her things and she pulls out a book. This is my diary. It's filled of all the things that I've seen so far when I first went out my way and started adventuring. It's not full yet, but I guess you can have it. I give it to her.
I knew. She kind of like strokes the outside cover of the book. There's so much here. You're willing to give this. Are you sure?
I mean, she taps the temple of her head and says, "Well, there's more where that came from, right?"
She like almost erupts in like a carnivore, like she looks incredibly voracious with an appetite there. She just like grips the book and like almost sinks her claws into the edges of it. And yeah, I'm only a DM, so I can't give story awards or anything like that of my own doing. But in a sense, you can keep this if you want for your character, or you could totally not also as your character and stuff. But just for the sake of what would happen in this moment, by my reckoning, she would take the diary and just relish it. You see in that moment, and especially when you mention like more where that comes from, she's just like, you've given me so much, and she just starts to absorb the memories from there. And as you said, it wouldn't be just one, it would be multiple, like all of that, anything you've put in that diary, she just starts to absorb and extract those memories, drinking it forward. And so yeah, you would lose a huge chunk of your memory after this. And so if you want to play that into your character, feel free. That could be like a little flaw you give yourself. If you don't want to, you don't have to by any means, because I'm just a random DM saying some stuff. So nothing concrete, of course, but yeah, she would just drink that in that you gave her, like, oh my goodness. And then she turns to you and says, the deal has been made. And at that point, you all slow little dribbles of those memories that you have left kind of leaking out just vanish, and they're gone forever as she collects your memories. And she says, a price has been taken, and yet valuable information will be given. And so as she is about to continue, I would like first to just to share some information about her. This might ring a bell with some of you guys as players, probably not necessarily as characters.
Jenny? You see Jenny?
No, but she actually is mentioned. So this is just a little bit of background about this character, Agatha, in case you may have ran into her, or you may run into her in the future in a different game. So just in case you're curious, as I said, and you've kind of gained, she hasn't been a hag for very long. And if you've played any of like the appropriate Season 1 or 4 adventures, you might find her somewhat reminiscent. She used to be someone named Ixusasa Terror Song, and she was actually changed by joining Jenny Greenteeth's coven in DDAL 4-06, The Ghost. So yeah, I almost ran that adventure once, and it looks like a fun one. It's like a haunted house one, I think, so I'd definitely try again. But anyway, so as your characters would know that information, probably not as much, but would just as players, if you're, that's just kind of a little background tidbit you might find interesting. And if you are curious, her story continues in CCC-DES-01, the At Jenny's Request series of adventures. So yeah, it's kind of how it's all interconnected, and you may or may not pick up off that at face value, so just shedding some light. To continue on, and the way this worked was basically just from a DM perspective, the more of you that were willing to make the deal, the more information and the trinket at the end she's willing to give. So you guys gave it all, and she took it willingly and is now willing to give everything she has in return. And she starts off with saying, come, let's get cozy here. And she makes a little place around the fire, and she says, fear not, my sisters are gone. They left me here to do exactly what I have just done. To meet with adventurers such as yourself and gain any sort of insight I can from them. But, as I have learned, adventurers will typically find you before you find them, so why go out in search of them? I could just stay home, be patient, study, and wait, and sure enough, you have come. So, what I would like to share with you, what I have divined, is that the ruins were once a forest shrine dedicated to the Raven Queen. And this was long before she became the Raven Queen. And I gotta scroll up to a little sidebar because I want to give you guys a little more information. She says, you may not know about this Raven Queen. She was an ancient sorceress of elven origin, her name long forgotten. It's rumored she had ambitions of elevating herself to god status to attempt to stop the war between Corellon and Lolth. Well, she was betrayed by some of her own followers, and in her own wrath, cursed by divine madness. She slowly devolved into a creature of symbols, images, and perceptions, surviving by pulling dead memories to her. This sustained and gave her a new form, called the Raven Queen. She now resides in the Fortress of Memories, a site decorated with discarded memories, particularly those of pain, sadness, and sorrow. Although, much like myself, it seems any interesting memories may take her fancy. Her raven servants are seen flying from the fortress at all hours, traveling the plains to pluck memories from the dreams of the living and the unseeing eyes of the dead. This religious site in particular that you seek was dedicated originally to the quasi-deity the Raven Queen assumed before she became what she is now. And yet, as she is transformed, this site has now become linked to the memories she has gathered. I would like to warn you of the undead that like to gather there, given physical form from the dying memories serving the Raven Queen. I'm going to breeze down to another section. What's that? She continues. These ruins are still guarded by memories taking the form of ghosts. They manifest as undead, but seem to have special psychic abilities, and the ability to dig inside your head like a millipede. The ruins themselves have a unique spiritual resonance with the Raven Queen, and the memories here are bound. Astute arcanists should be able to dispel the ghostly memories if they can damage any wards containing them on the material plane. And I myself am an expert on millipedes, particularly of the mind variety. Her words almost just seem to like coil and crawl into your ears. I've made this primal trinket. Just some rabbit sinew, nettles, and clay. Oh, and a few bodily humors I've collected. Well, those that wear it will have advantage on any attempts to thwart you, saving throws by the undead. And in addition, your attacks against such creatures will be treated as psychic, perhaps giving you an advantage. Now, if it were up to me, I would say that perhaps Ivar is maybe the most worthy for his cane, and yet there was a magical scroll as well, but I'll leave it up to you to fight over. And she kind of will try to hand over another trinket. This one does seem to be pretty cool. I would imagine this would be by DM acceptance, and I'm sure it's like, for my games, if you're ever playing with me and you were going to use it, of course I would allow it, but you probably just have to be like, hey, I have this thing from this game, and then maybe they would or not. But it's a trinket, so I would imagine, you can keep it and stuff. And it gives you advantage on saving throws against... Oh, you know what? Maybe actually you can keep it afterwards, but this effect won't matter for any other undead. But yeah, it gives you advantage on saving throws against undead, and attacks are psychic against them. So one of you can use that, and then you can keep it afterwards for like a trinket, just for story's sake. Sorry, I had to make sure I read that correctly. But yeah, it's like a little kind of like tribal looking keychain looking thing made out of sinew and nettles and clay with some weird kind of probably organic material mixed in there too, and she'll kind of give that over. And after that, she'll kind of get a little more comfortable back there towards her tent and say, "You're welcome to come strike another deal any time, and the best of fortunes in what you seek." She gives a sly wink to Calvin as she kind of just retires back to the fire. Of course, if anybody has any more questions or conversation for her, she's there.
So,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go.
I just wanted to confirm. Must have been my selective hearing, but does the pool really give back lost vitality?
I can't say I've
well,
ever
I-
drank from it myself. It appears the trip would be worth the while. But for the end result, you'll have to find for yourself. I myself have never drank from the water, so not sure how much it would do for me in my current state.
I see. That's all from her. Sorry.
All right. So, let me see where we're at next. If maybe we should take a quick 5, or if we should wait another 30 and then do that.
I mean, Ivor did a BRB, so maybe all of us should.
Okay, sure. Let's yeah, just however 3 to 5 minutes, and then when majority is back, we'll kind of have a tentative start. So if you want to just put that you're back or an X or however you want to do it in the chat, we will reconvene in a few.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll get the extra 2 there, kind of caught up as we get started. As you kind of leave the more marshy territory behind, and the kind of firm ground of the forest kind of returns underfoot. You find yourself once again surrounded by trees, and after a short, brisk walk, the old man Calvin Shepherd kind of motions for you guys to kind of halt, and he says, well, it's been a breakneck pace by my reckoning. You won't forgive me for taking a quick break now, and there's a few things I wouldn't mind saying after our last meeting there, I suppose, but kind of wanted to wait until we were by ourselves. So mechanically, I know we haven't done much, and not really, but if it matters to anybody, this would be like considered a short rest. So anybody can take a short rest that needs it for any reason, I guess. But like I said, I know it's kind of early for things like that, but
Madeline would cast a spell, Mage Armor. I forgot to do it before taking the short rest.
okay. You gonna do it before taking the short rest?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And then we'll give it another moment real quick to... It's like Kippy and Nightfall. Okay. If they pop in, we'll just get them caught up. Okay. So Nightfall, and then Kippy, if you're coming in. Calvin kind of motions for a break after that. He seems a little tired as he motions and kind of sets up a little camp here. You guys can take a short rest for if you needed to heal or whatever you may do in a short rest, you can. As he kind of wants to have a word with you guys during this short rest, kind of now that you've gotten a little bit of distance between you and the Agatha. And as you guys have kind of traveled on, you've noticed like this threat of the thunderstorm kind of growing. And as you kind of taken a camp here, he begins to say that, well, I fear that thunderstorm may be impending. And while I'm not afraid of a bit of rain, it seems this all hinges upon the harvest moon shining down upon this shrine. And that's supposed to be what makes it all happen. And yet I fear if a serious storm brews, the harvest moonlight may be blocked entirely. That could spell failure for this expedition, and this is the only night of the year we can even do this. I'll admit, I'm not sure I'm gonna have another year after this one to try again. I'm more determined than ever to find this gazing pool and retake my youth. I cannot stress this enough, my new friends. I want to cling desperately to this life I so cherish. Seemed like just yesterday I was leaving off to do great things just as yourselves. Why, one time there was this terrible dragon that was coming down and burning huge swaths of the forest. And it took all sorts of us to gather together from all over, it seemed. Shoulder to shoulder, all our differences aside. Well, I lose myself in an ancient memory. But I do hope you're still willing to see this through with me.
Pippi remembers being tempted to go with the little pixies back to the Feywild, but then remembers this promise and says, "Yeah, we'll see this through."
Has been quite a journey. This is the reason I want to continue on, you know, I'm not ready. Seems a bit somber as he kind of settles in his determination, though, to get there. And he says, "For my determination, it should just be just beyond the next tree line. We should come across. And yet, with this weather, we're really gonna have to get lucky."
No worries, Mr. Shepherd. We'll get you there. Lickety split.
Okay, and you guys kind of start to hastily pack up after your kind of brief hour there to catch your breath. And it seems like he probably needed it more than anything. And he kind of tightens his coat around him and he says, "I'm more than grateful for everything you've done. You know, as I get older, I have realized that at times our memories are truly greater than any material collection we could ever have. So I know the importance of what you gave up for me back there. And yet, let's haste to see this through." And as you guys start to break through the trees and arrive at this religious site, the storm seems like it could just break through at any moment. The clouds are on the verge of concealing the harvest moon, as he was afraid of. And as you guys approach, you see that the area seems to be quite, let's say, it seems as if you have an eerie presence there, as a thick mist kind of settles on the area, and out of this you can see these shapes of pure darkness kind of dancing in the dim light, trying to break through this fog. And you see that the vegetation around you starts to thin so much, the trees and such, to where you can see just fine. The wind is actually pretty high here, so just regular rules for that, where like perception on hearing is with disadvantage and ranged attacks will be limited in ways. So we'll go over that as needed, of course, but let's make sure I cover that real quick. Okay, and so I'm going to jump you guys over a map real quick. Feel free to arrange yourself in any way you see, as Calvin starts to like confidently stride forward, and he's like, "We made it! I can't believe it! This must be it!" And he starts to wade in through like the fog at his feet, and comes to the edge of the pool here, and he falls down to his knees, ready to like outstretch his hands into the water, and tears just start to stream down his eyes. And it's like, I made it! I can't believe it! When all of a sudden you see these kind of shadowy apparitions start to appear. It seemed like they're just dancing at the edge of your vision, like twisting in the fog, but they start to materialize in the stones and such, and kind of come forward. There are, make sure I got the right. I'm gonna pop up some things. Making sure I'm doing it for tier appropriate. All right. As these misty apparitions kind of appear, and one in particular here stands before you. here at the rock, and kind of glides closer towards Calvin, and in this feminine voice that just seems to like emanate with power, she calls out, shoot. My bad, sorry. Okay, sorry. That's kind of weirdly put there. So, as the palpable darkness starts to kind of cling to these figures like smoldering fire, they start to like materialize as different people. So I would allow each of you to kind of, if you want, like a person from your character's past. It seems like very vaguely reminiscent, and you almost seem these like whisperings on the edge of your mind of things that like only your character would know and kind of vaguely remember and such. It's very disturbing to hear as it kind of breaks through. This one in particular comes forward and states in a feminine voice, "If you want access to the shrine, you must defeat us." And before we would roll initiative, of course, anyone with a higher passive perception of 12, which I'm checking, I think Kippy, yours is there. I think that's everybody, right? No, everybody but Madeline, actually. So everyone except for Madeline hears the faintest of whispers from Calvin as this figure comes up, and you just hear him say, "Sarah, is that you?" And then, of course, let's roll some initiative. And so real quick, if we could start from back order, you could share if you want to. You don't have to. But if you want a flavor for your character and stuff, and we certainly seem like we have the time in the game, Madeline, one of those apparitions that like kind of looks towards you, it kind of seems like somebody from your past. Is that something you would want to share?
Let's see here. Out of character, I haven't really fleshed out Madeline. I just made her life 30 minutes ago, but perhaps Madeline sees a face similar to hers. Maybe a twin sister. She does not remember any details, or she can't really remember anything prior to this mission for some reason that she does not know, but that's what she sees, her own face.
Okay. And that image just like will not leave your mind as you kind of have to like snap yourself to reality, realizing that danger is present. And then before we get going, how about you, Nightfall?
She's probably seeing Gary, someone she knew and liked from her past. Gary, is that you? I thought you were still like in wild space doing stuff.
So as you kind of like grab your arm, you get to arms and stuff, you feel almost a little quiver in your hand as that perhaps might have like shook you slightly, at least left you a little confused. And Sanazara, would there be someone that might like jump out at you from your past in this moment?
It's kind of weird, maybe, but like Sanazara sees the first puppy she owned way back in the day, and that's what she remembers from this group.
It's like a flicker, this form. It's almost like two things at once, where in one moment it's tricking your mind, and then you can see it for what it truly is, like materializing. And how about you, Ivar?
Ivor sees a image of his younger self back when he was just an outlander, moving from town to town, begging for food, looking for work, starving, sitting in the rain, sleeping in the rain, and now he's much better off.
All right, and last but certainly not least, Kippy.
Like if you would see someone who is the reason why he got into the Witchlight Carnival in the first place, or at least had an opportunity to. Kippy is saying, "Wait, how'd you get here? I promised I'd be back. I wait, wait." And Kippy is just like very like shocked to see them. Also apologetic because Kippy hasn't been back in a while, been gone for a long time. Yeah, they're probably waiting for him, or maybe they're not.
And so as you guys are seeing this, hardly believing it, and but still feeling the present danger and this kind of challenge issued forward from someone that most of you noticed that seemed like that Calvin kind of recognized, all of a sudden everything just twists and distorts, somewhat similar to like a horrifying visage in a way, where like the little puppy all of a sudden just like its kind of head just kind of like cracks and opens and like twists over, like jaw lolling out and blood just pouring and spraying out, and these like loved ones or people you used to know, all of a sudden just each of their eyes start to leak out blood and their mouths turn to fangs as they just roar at you. They definitely try to spook you guys here. Is everyone will need to make a quick charisma saving throw.
Charisma.
Or be frightened for the
Charisma, right?
Yep.
DM will use this and
Nice.
yay.
And looks like everyone, despite kind of almost seeming like you're being mocked or tortured here by these things, you're able to know that this isn't real, and that you kind of plant your feet firmly in reality here and shake it off, not to be too scared or anything. And Kippy, you were the first to act.
We remember what we were told by Agatha, right? Do we? Do we remember? Or do we not remember what Agatha told us?
Yeah. She had said that.
Do I see any words?
Go ahead and make a religion check.
Religion? 7.
I won't. So, yeah, the memory of what she said is certainly there, but you don't quite identify it. But, I mean, it's there, and I won't cost you your action for that necessarily.
Okay.
That was just, so.
Sure, Kippy is going to. Well, there's one over there that's really far. So Kippy will try not to be too far from the party. Kippy is going to go here. Is this a bush?
Yeah, it'd be like a tree. Or, well, like a small tree.
Okay. Kippy is going to attempt to hide first. From the ones to the north only. Of course, the ones over here would clearly see where Kippy is. But the ones to the north hopefully will not. An attempt is made.
Okay.
And we'll take out a, mechanically speaking, short bow, and we'll go after. Let's go target the far away one. This one, the far away one, because it's far away. And it's non-magical, if that means anything, against this one.
Okay. So you blast out a bolt of water.
Mechanically speaking, a short bow.
It's cool with me. Love it. And yeah, it seems to pass through the creature, but as it comes out the other side, has seemed to take an effect, and so I'm sure we could keep in mind, of course, what that means for them. But yeah, you heard him, but perhaps not as much as you felt like it would have done with a dead-on water gun. You know that.
Okay.
But
Okay. Sure.
still a good
Kippy
shot.
will just remain here, not straying too far from everyone else, and that's it.
All right, and then I'm trying to think if I should just dive towards the old guy, but killing him could be problematic. Yeah, I guess that would probably make the most sense. Is this creature will come forward towards Calvin, and he just kind of throws his hands up as he's ready to run. Oh wait, I do need to
shit.
roll. I need to roll his initiative too. My bad.
This is a Uh, Are we aware that this one was also gonna participate in the fight, or was it just standing there?
Which one?
This one.
Oh yeah, it definitely seemed menacing. It kind of twists and contorts and starts to glide towards him as he just like screams out, "Sarah!" And he like starts like, you just see like this frail old man, truly, like as he's trying to puff himself up this whole time and keep himself like I can do this. And in this moment, he's like cowering down, just like his hands like up to fend himself off. Oh, I guess Senna's turn order
Some
got kind of
people were-
wonky there. My bad.
Yeah.
What's
And
your
because,
what's your
because
dex
there's
there,
three
Senazar?
people that-
0.
Okay. Sorry about that. But anywho. Oh my goodness. Why does that happen? Oh my gosh. Oh, I gotta roll something and see. I might just redact something for story's sake. I'll roll it out here too. Let's see.
No.
Okay. So,
I
if this wasn't Adventurers League, we'd be mixing it up and having some fun. But for the sake of the story, this thing is like a Dementor on Harry Potter type stuff. It just grips his chest and just seems to be leeching his life out completely. And if he seemed old before, I mean, he just withers under this grasp till he's like hardly anything left, like a skeleton of a person. And he's as he kind of like falls back near lifelessly to the ground. His heart's still beating, but definitely got the life drained out of him like crazy. And then this creature kind of just walks over, kind of haunts over, looking for the next victim when the time would come. And then I'll move on. Sorry, it took a second, but yeah. So he's not dead, but definitely right on the death's door. As he'll be ready to run away as fast as he can on his turn. But on the other side of the battlefield, let me see our distances here. This one that was injured by you earlier will stop there, use the dodge action. So it'll come up there. And that one will do the same. So the ones that are away from you guys are using dodge action, and then 3 of them have these kind of at this point they've kind of given up on the forms to like terrorize you as much, and just seem to be these coalescing darkness kind of appearing before you. But still the visions that they've given you kind of creep and like haunt in your mind as they kind of coalesce the darkness into this sharp tipped spear, try to drive it home there. Looks like we got one towards Ivar. That'll be a 12, so you're able to fend that off like it's nothing. Laughing in the face of this foo. On Kippy's side, you got two dark spears, and one of them definitely misses with the 6. The other one was a 15, which just misses as well, as you're able to kind of like hop and dodge and make sure to stay like one step ahead of them to stay out of harm's way. And then, sorry for the delay there, but Senazar.
And Senazar is going to take out her great club and attack the one that just beat up on our friend. Miss. She's going to move.
Yeah, you feel like your hit like just should have landed, but it's how ghostly this thing is that kind of just maybe catches the edge here and to no avail.
She'll move around to here, provoking an attack of opportunity from this guy.
Guess my dice are not as hot as that'll only be a 12.
That'll miss and should free up the old man to be able to run.
Okay, he's definitely going to take that cue. Madeline.
Madeline would say, "Mr. Shepherd, get down!" as she casts a magic missile on the guy with the white cloak. Oh no. How does magic missile work on your table, DM? Do I just roll once, or should I roll 3 times?
You can roll for each individual missile.
Okie dokie. Ooh. And the owl would seems like helping on this guy, the one near Ivar, and that's her turn.
All right, you put your faith into the hours of study you've done to acquire this power, and you kind of release that magic. And yeah, it's very effective as it just ripples that short distance away, and each one of those darts like penetrates into the form of the silhouette of this creature. But instead of shooting out the other side like these other attacks have, they just seem to like disappear inside, and it just kind of, you feel like the hate and pain like rearing out in waves from this creature. And that's it for you. You don't want to do any movement or anything like that?
I'll stay here for now.
Okay.
Enter.
All right. And Ivar, you got a shadow in your face.
Ivar will take out his silvered mace. And that's a crit. Action surge. Does the 18 hit?
Oh, it does. Yep.
Okay, 6 more damage. That's my turn.
Okay, so you feel like what normally you'd just be hitting plugs out of an enemy, just choom, choom, choom with this great, with the silvered mace, my bad. And yet it's like, it feels like no tangible connection, and yet you trust yourself and the trials you went through to know that you're doing damage here, even though it seems as if you're just swinging through ghostly air in a weird way. And nightfall.
Oi, jackass, leave the old man away! Scott, it makes me mad! And, going, Ray, what does 4 do? Fuck. Let me find. Where's table 4? Magic infuses one weapon of your choice that you're holding. Until your rage ends, the weapon damage type changes to force, and it gains the light and thrown properties, with a normal range of 20/60. Okay, well, that makes weapon selection easy. She's gonna cleave this white ghost in twain, perhaps recklessly. 19 for 7 force. Oh, there's 2 more from rage.
So 9 total force.
Yes.
Yeah, you feel like the ghostly white cloak of this creature just shred and tatter, and it seems to be like almost flickering out of existence as it is just barely there.
That's all.
All right, and then it seems as if he struggles to do so, but Calvin kind of picks himself up and he's like, "Oh, I need some chocolate," and kind of just dashes away and kind of, tries to rejuvenate himself in any way he can. And Kippy, a little bit surrounded.
Disengage as a bonus action. And we'll go towards the one oh this one, the one that looks the most hurt is this one, yeah?
Yeah, I guess at this point it'd be showing some visible signs.
Okay, Kippy is going to disengage as a bonus action first. Go towards this thing, and we'll target it. Take out so one hand is holding the bow. Kippy will draw a moon-touched weapon. This is a short sword. And we'll try to target it.
Okay, definitely feel the semblance of a connection.
11. And we'll hear interposing between the creature and the direction where Calvin was, and that'll be turn.
Okay, and so as you cleave through this, I'd imagine you do probably something similar to the image there. Jump in, doing this awesome flip, somehow slashing down with one hand as you do so, landing in amazing fashion, probably head turned away from the creature as you don't even look, as it slowly just shatters from reality and kind of seems to ebb out in this like essence into like the light fog at your feet, and is deceased again.
Nice.
And so I'll take it off the turn order there, and then that was all from Kippy.
I believe I still have some of it remaining, because knowing that this thing was destroyed, I would have moved elsewhere, because when I hit it and it was dead. Okay. Sure. We'll just reposition just right around here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That'll be it for now.
All right, and then I guess I haven't really done any damage too much, so let's just see what happens, and hopefully it's not too cruel on one person. I don't really think it will be, but just for a chance at doing something. Sanazara, as Kippy kind of like just seems to disappear and run over and do like this ninja slash, and then kind of dips back over there in one like swift movement. These shadowy forms, they just kind of seem to be lost for a moment, and they see the first hot-blooded creature around. They kind of close in on you there. It looks like this one would join that one towards Ivar, and I'll see what they can do. There'll be a few rolls from these shadowy forms. So let's go over here towards Ivar first. As 2 of these kind of shadowy spears, deadly, try to trace it, arc towards you, but looks like both of them will miss. The highest one was only 15. So yeah, your armor and your wit is holding true. You're able to fend these things off. And the other side of the field, Sanazara, you got 3 of them.
Sure.
Looks like higher rolls on this one too. A 19 and a 21 from the
Both
first
hit.
2, and then the last one will be. Oh my gosh! Whoa! Sorry, dude. These just like came out. a 22 on that one as well. So that'd be 3 spear tips.
Sure.
This might be my great moment of the battle. All right. So this will be a couple things. It looks like. 3. So it'll be 25 necrotic, which I know would put you down there. And then in addition to that, your strength score is going to be reduced by 8.
Can't really be reduced. He's wearing the gauntlets, right?
Yeah. Does... I guess that would be interesting to know if that would be from base score.
Yeah, the way I would read it is that his base score is reduced, but his score is fixed.
Wrong character.
Oh, sorry. Apologies.
Okay. That honestly, I'd be curious what the deliberation for that would be. That'd be worth looking up. But in this case, yeah. So take that reduction of 8 to the strength, and you got a friend down. Then Sanazar, it is your turn. I guess they did not do much movement, so they'll move forward. Just do that, and then got a failed death save, just 1, and Madeline. You see
This thing, one moment. This thing ended its turn next to me, yeah?
Yes.
I'll use my reaction to move away. This one. And then just go around here first. It won't know AOs anyway.
Okay. Cool.
Just here for a bit.
Nice.
That's the reaction is that.
All right. Very cool. Good use of that ability, and Madeline.
Madeline touches her the crystal around her neck, and seeing Sanazara go down, she uses the one. Actually, she kind of touches around Sanazara's pockets. Does Sanazara have any healing potion? Nope. Oh no. Okay, dokie. I'll just use one of those the Jew thing that the fairy gave us on Sanazara, if it's alright.
I'm cool with
Wait.
that.
Sorry, Sanazar does actually have 1 healing potion on her. I just found it. Sorry.
Oh, okay, dokie. I'll try to apply it on Sanazara,
Okay.
and I kind of Madeline looks back to what she. Oh no, healing is healing.
Yeah.
She tries to remember what the lady in the tent said, and may she try to do a religion check, DM?
Oh,
Do you
sure.
remember?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Oh, yeah.
20.
Okay, so you kind of following the cue from before, knowing that, the heat of battle kind of distracts from everything, of course. So everyone's doing whatever they can to survive in the moment, but you feel that nudge kind of echoing in your mind to check. And, let me find it. Oh, sorry. It was in a little box. My bad. But yeah, you see these runes kind of carved into the stones and such all around you. And there are some individual runes kind of attached to just the different stones here in the middle. The 6 here kind of surrounding the tree. And it seems that if you used an action to do something... I'll just say it, so I guess. But in the end, it's some damage, or if you had thieves' tools. But essentially, that's... So I wouldn't take your action to do the religion check, so you could still do something else if you want. That was just kind of taking that moment to look.
It was the potion applied, right?
Yes, I used my action to apply the potion, DM.
Okay.
But
Right. So
I will share the memory. Guys, the ruins, they're on the rocks. And the owl would continue to help Ivar, and that'd be her turn.
Okay. Ivar, the runes. He's like, I'm a little busy. Ching,
Yeah.
ching.
Crit on the same one I hit before. What about the runes?
They're connected to these creatures.
So you're going relentless?
Reckless, you mean?
Or
No, I don't do reckless.
No, the help action was given by the owl.
oh, right. Okay, sorry. Nice.
I'll take 2 up attacks.
All right. And so you kind of leave these shadowy forms behind you. One of them seems to be a lot more diminished than the other at this point. And yeah, of course they'll try to give you one last little grasp, and they cannot hit you, man. You are untouchable. And just a 15 as highest as you dip out of their reach.
That's my turn.
Okay. And Nightfall, taking on a new look, perhaps.
Yes, I forgot to change her token. So the thing is to destroy the ruins, right?
Mhm.
Run past this dude and get there. Provoking perhaps from this guy.
Misses with a 6. And now I'd imagine you just skirt around the other guy.
Yeah, and she's gonna use the newly acquired property of her glaive to just chuck it at the thing.
Okay.
I can't really do it reckless, so it's just a 4.
All right, and it seems like you leave like a huge scratch in this rune, and it kind of flickers and kind of like diminishes in light, but kind of faintly glows. As you can see, probably about, you bloodied it if you could bloody a rock. The rock starts to bleed. Something's up here. Yep, bloody rocks. It's always the bloody rocks that get us. Okay, anything else there for Nightfall, though?
That's all, thank you.
And then old man back here will just retreat a little further and dodge and such. And then we're going on to the third round with Kippy. As you notice, as time has kind of gone on here, now we're in the third round, the clouds overhead start to thicken. And you can, especially Kippy, kind of more attuned to these things, you would start to feel that, impending rain, kind of almost smell it in the air as the clouds, perhaps a rumble of thunder in the distance. As you know, time is somewhat precious here, and feel free to go ahead.
Salazar, are you okay there?
Who said that? Yeah, I'm fine.
Then one of the rocks is here. Might as well try to damage it as much as possible with the weapon over here. That one, and that's Kippy's action, unfortunately. Then we'll use the rest of the movement to get to here. I guess supposedly use a bonus action to hide behind this one, and then Kippy will go after these 2 rocks later.
Okay, and I think if you're the one, oh, there, I got it. Yeah, that one, as you break it, this apparition over here next to Sanazara disappears.
Oh, thank God. All right, that's it for now.
Okay. And then let's go to the shadowy apparitions, and I guess we'll just have to play this as we go. I would just have these 2 will just chase after Ivar to keep that over here. Yeah, I think he's more than capable. But on the other side here, we got a couple. And I guess, probably go after the person who's standing, as that would seem like the more able target. So the first one targets Madeline, and with a 10, will miss. And then I guess the other one will try to follow suit. ignoring the downed foe for now with the 12 will also miss. So feel some sweat kind of pouring down your back a bit as these guys kind of reach out towards you with their shadowy spear tips, but you're able to kind of dodge or perhaps parry, fend off in any way you can. As Sanazara, it's your turn. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to skip over there on Ivar. My bad. I think this will probably follow suit, but 2 quick attacks on Ivar. And I got, I'm going to hit once. I got a 17 and a 23. So 23.
Okay.
All right. Let me see. All right, so the shadowy spear tip kind of digs in, finally finding some purchase past your armor. And it feels a lot more solid than it looks, as the damage will be necrotic, and that'll be 7 necrotic, and your strength score will be reduced by 2. So just keep track of that for now, and that's not a permanent thing, of course, but yeah, so strength down by 2. You already got that damage mark, thank you. And now Sanazar, sorry about that.
All right, get up, move around, and I need this shadow and this rock to give me dex saving throws, please.
So I'm quite sure the rock will automatically fail. But the other guy, he said dex save, that's going to be a rousing 15. So it looks like
He's fine.
All right, so you spew that out. Some of it sizzles in the water here, just kind of bubbling underneath the surface until it lays still. Kind of these noxious fumes kind of rippling at the surface and, mixing with the fog. Looks like...
Oh, that actually doesn't work against the rock. It's each creature, so I can't hit the rock with it either way. Oh well, done.
Okay. All right, well, Madeline?
Oh, Madeline would like to help as well, but she does not have any spells to hit those things. She'll disengage for now, and 25 over here. Let's see. The owl will try to distract this guy, and enter. So, help action on this one.
Okay. Then I think that's you, Ivar.
Which one did I get the helper on? Well, actually, I'm going for the rock.
Okay.
Ooh. Does an 8 hit?
So at this point, with you being as close as you are, you're more so just defacing it, like grinding your mace into it. So you're gonna hit no matter what. But it is about how much damage you're gonna do total. And it seems like you almost completely deface it, but there's a little smudge of kind of light from the rune, barely flickering with life. So you're very close on that one.
That's my turn.
Alrighty, Nightfall.
Now get close to the rock and whack it good. Now I can reckless the rock.
Okay, so that one's already been defaced. That you're next to.
Okay, so
Yeah.
can get there and whack that one.
Yep.
24 for 15 force.
And it just completely is grinded away. And as that happens, one of these guys plaguing Ivar over here just disappears.
I guess that's all my movement. Just 1 second. Is it light and throw? Light and thrown, I can bonus action chuck it elsewhere. I'm going to chuck it at the other rock over there. For 9.
Okay, and so your glaive just kind of jams there in the rock, and then I think your magic would retract it, I'm sure, right? But for a
Yes,
moment there,
it reappears in my hand.
yeah, for a second though, it just kind of sticks there in the rock, and kind of is the same as the one over here by Ivar. You nearly completely deface it, but it's just kind of a slight little line still there. It's barely holding on.
Stupid rocks! And that's us. Thank you.
All right, guy over here, he's like, I'm starting to feel a bit better now, but time's ticking on. And sure enough, at the top of the fourth, you feel that like the slight darkening of the area as the clouds like creep in just a little bit more. And Kippy, you are free to act.
Going to damage this one rock over there. I guess a 9 or 5. I can't add anything to that. But the short sword is a light weapon, meaning I got a bonus action to take out a dagger, and I'll try it again.
Okay.
But no, it's an offhand, so that's just 1. So total 6 from Kippy.
Okay, yeah, and you're just slashing and gouging and chipping and doing everything you can. And it seems to be you got a little more than halfway on that one.
I should have used thieves tools. Just gonna move here. Nightfall can probably handle that one from here, and that's it.
Magic! We need a doctor. We have a bloody rock.
All right, so we got a few remaining still. Got one already there. Yeah, I guess just doing what makes the most sense from a crazy creature hungry for your blood. But yeah, we got one again towards Ivar, trying to reduce that strength a little more, and that'll be 17, which would be a few shy as you feel that kind of heat on you, but you're determined to stand your ground and do it, finish the job. On the other side, we got 2 now against Sanazara, and we'll have a dang, they're out for you, man. 19 and 22.
Both will hit.
So this will be well, let me just roll. I guess we'll just do the first one, and then I'll do the 19, and then the other one might carry over, I guess, probably to somebody else. I'll re-roll it though, I guess, to be fair, so I'm not going to carry over a hit to somebody else. But let's just see. From the first hit, yeah, that'd be 12 necrotic there. So you feel that just leeching. It takes you down. I don't know if what's your strength score at right now?
It's low. How much did you do?
What do you have? You want to hear hear the number first?
Yeah, I'll take the number.
Ah, crap, dude. It's 4.
I'm still up.
Okay. So yeah, you feel like you're gonna be looking like old man Calvin over there before too long. And yeah, it's your turn. Now, if you want to roll that save real quick.
Well, did you want the other one to hit me too?
Oh no, he wouldn't hit you while you're down. He would move on to the next target, which would be Madeline. So I'll re-roll that attack because I'm not gonna just be like, ooh, I hit you or anything. So it'd be an 8 against Madeline, which will miss, turns out. But yeah, my bad. Thanks for reminding me. And then you are down just 1, so it's not like the last one carried over. And then Madeline, you got something haunting you.
Oh no, the consequences of my actions. Like, Madeline looks to the rock, looks to Sanazar, wanting to prioritize just to confirm the thing that the fairy gave us, the Jew potion. Is that for everyone? Do we have one for each?
No, it would just be 1, and I guess at that point we didn't really clarify who had taken it, and so I don't have any problem with you being the one to have it if you did want to use it.
Okay, I mean, let's see here. I guess if it's okay with everyone, I'll use it on Sanazar.
No, it's not okay with Sanazar. If you heal me, I'll turn into a ghost, a shadow, because they'll hit me again. They'll hit me again, and that'll drop my strength to 0. So don't worry about me. Just kill these things or beat up the rocks. I'll take my chances with death saves.
Okie dokie. I guess I'll take some stress off from these guys. I'll use between these two guys, which one is more injured, or yeah, more transparent?
Right. Yeah. So it is hard to tell, but they do both seem to be pretty well injured, not too far off from each other, and definitely bloodied in the sense, if you want to call it that, with them. So they're, yeah, both a little under half, I'd say.
I'll take my chances uh with this guy. Magic missile, and let's see here.
Okay.
Sorry for taking too long. One,
No,
two,
no.
three.
No, I think it's awesome because I would imagine this as you kind of like turning your back. In 1 minute you're running forward trying to do one thing, but as you hear like Senazara kind of like her sigh as she would fall to the ground, you turn and you know what you have to do, and you kind of like confidently walk around the in between the creatures and just like explode with energy as the emotion would like kind of come through you. Boom, you shatter. So all three of them are going towards the dude in the top.
Mm-hmm.
And he just completely is erased. Again, just much like the other, your darts just zoom. They just like almost seem to disappear with like a ripple into its form, and as it does, it just shatters out and becomes nothing.
Ooh. This owl continues to help, and for some reason, Madeline does not remember them. And turn.
Alrighty, Ivar. Okay, and you
Thanks to 5.
knock out this one, and we'll say that the one over here by Sanazara disappears.
Then I'll take an op attack from this one.
It's like it was a crit, baby, but a crit won. So nothing doing.
That's my turn.
All right, Nightfall. Seems like you're almost about wrapping it up
Yeah.
here.
11 force on that thing over there. Is it still up?
Nope, it will go down, and at that point, that would be the last of the kind of forms here dissipating. And with that, we will clear out the combat.
Time to feed potions to Sanazara, right? You can use mine.
All right, so there's always got to be a little danger, and as Ivar said there, I agree. Nice work. So as a DM, I do always aim to challenge at any tier. So that was awesome. Good combat, you guys.
We made it.
All right, and so as you
Calvin,
guys,
you okay?
yeah, he kind of creeps back out. He seems he probably he'll have had a potion on himself too, so he seems to be a little more back in spirits and such as he comes up, and he sees you guys all kind of patching up and things, and as you do, it seems to just be you and Calvin here now. All these ghostly spirits have been put to rest and such. We'll go ahead and get their horrible forms away from us. All right. And so Calvin comes up to the pool finally, and you see now that peace is kind of settled here, he kind of turns his gaze up, and in between two thick, dark clouds, a ray of moonlight still shines down, and he kind of falls back down to his knees as he originally did. And he kind of dips his hands down into the water, and kind of like starts to like hold it up to his lips, but before he even does, you see his gaze is past his hands and just looking into the pool of water. And then as you guys kind of look and see, the tears once again flow heavily on his face. He finds that the water's not quite working as he expected, and as you kind of look over his shoulder to see what is disturbing him so, his shoulders shake as he sees these first-person scenes as if through a crystal ball. And as you look over his shaking old shoulders, you see a young woman with flowers in her hair smiling, and a small child with her looking much like her. They kind of are frolicking until the child falls and kind of scuffs its little knee, and then the image kind of flashes back, and you can see the birth of a child and the building of a home, and it all kind of coalesces into like a humble little family dinner where they're all seated around a table. And as these scenes are playing out, you see the water that Calvin holds in his hands just slowly drip and fall through his fingers as he then reaches out to the water and kind of sobs out, trying to grasp at these memories physically. I forgot this. I forgot all these things. Look at how magical. And as his hand just kind of gracefully touches the water, a light rain starts to fall down upon you, and the images slowly fade. He kind of just sits there, like gazing into them longingly for a few more minutes, as silence kind of falls.
Did it work?
He remains quiet as his shoulders kind of just shake as he sobs, and he's like, I've been so distracted. And then the rain begins to fall like heavier and heavier and heavier until you can hardly even see your companions next to you. It's obscuring everything. If you had any kind of, torch or anything like that, it's definitely extinguished. And darkness kind of takes over around you, so take that into account. And the wind picks up like incredibly hard, so some of those things will still take effect as well. And the harvest moon overhead just like slowly disappears in these clouds, and as you see this pool ahead of you, it starts to like kind of ripple like a disturbance, and all of a sudden, just materializing from the rain, you see this woman appear, and she's standing solitarily on this small little piece of island, I guess, in the pool. And as she stands there, you notice that too, these other forms come out of this other pool on the back side of you. They all seem to be very like pearlescent white skin, very like just very bleached out in their demeanor in all ways. And this very like elfish figure stands before you with very white skin and clad in black, and her hair is, of course, almost blindingly white there as well. And she speaks out in Elvish. So quickly, does anyone speak Elvish?
No?
Just
What?
these.
Nightfall speaks Sylvan, if that's close enough.
Okay, so she comes out and materializes from the pool as the rain thickens. You can almost barely make out her features, as she's like pretty obscured there. But she calls out in this like almost very stoic voice in Elvish. So I guess no one would really understand her off face value. But it seems to be like a bit demanding, I guess,
Kippy is going to look at the party. I don't know what she's saying. Does anyone know?
Oh, Sansa.
Sanazara. Sanazara understands, it seems.
Sanazara. All right, so she calls out, and it looks like just off face value, Sanazara, you're the only one that can understand her. And right off the bat, you recognize this form of Elvish as not being like the normal dialect of what's being spoken in this, normally of what you hear of Elvish. Like, it seems to be a little different, but you can most certainly make out what she's saying. And she calls out, "Who dares defile the ruins? Name your purpose here. We have felt a disturbance from our plane." And so Sanazar,
Sanazara will look at her and say, we have meant no disrespect. We seek the wisdoms of this ancient temple to heal what ails this gentleman and restore him to his youth. We hear that this temple has the power to do so.
So as you kind of call out, the heavy rain just thunders around you. You can see it just drenching the kind of diminished form of the old man next to you as you try to call out on his part. The woman cries back, "The thinning of the border between our worlds allows us to feel the disturbances. We are tasked to eliminate any threat here."
You showed up a little bit late. The disturbances were from some undead that had claimed this temple. We have purged the temple of their evilness and seek to reclaim its former glory.
Go ahead and make me a social check of your choice with that. That makes sense. Maybe persuasion, probably.
Demonstration you gave me earlier.
Okay, nice. So she she will say, alright, she'll call out, "I hesitate to slay you, and yet it is our duty to defend this place."
This place is not under attack.
She says, "There's only one way I feel we can settle. The only one way I can trust you." She kind of steps forward, and you can see her really in her true form as she materializes there just in front of you, kind of hovering at the edge of the water there, I'll say. While she seems slight in stature and such, you feel like a great significance with this person, at least in power. And she says, "Gaze deep into the pool and face the deepest things. Let us know that you are worthy, that you may have a purpose."
Sanazara look at her and say, "I am not the person seeking the boon of this pool. Should I do it or should he?"
She says that, "I would hope for each of you to face what may be inside and know the darkness that's always on the other side." And as she says this, it's just so very much stoic. And, if any of your characters would have any kind of like a, you could be like a Horizon Walker type thing or something like that, or you might have your own reason, but she's clearly from the Shadowfell. And, so, yeah, Shatter Kai elf. Yeah, and they all seem to be dressed up as kind of in cultist garb of sorts. So with that, yeah, she'll just kind of say, if I'm to trust you and we leave this place undisturbed, I'll need to know you are worthy, that you have a purpose. She kind of stepped back and kind of leave it up to each of you guys to do
right.
so.
I'll relate to everyone else the instructions of the Shatterkai. Tell them it's individual choice, and my suggestion is we do it one at a time.
We're not gonna turn into those guys, right? The big shadowy, scary guys.
Should we pass their test, they'll leave us alone.
Understood.
Okay, and so you can see through your use of Elvish, you kind of you made her more hesitant to just unleash her fury, and then but still wasn't yet quite high enough, to persuade her really to just back off. And so, yes, you said she has put you to this final test. And since you're the one with the communication there, I'd say it'd be best for you to take the honors there as you gaze into the pool. And let me. Okay, so you look into it, and much like Calvin before you, you start to see these scenes recreated from your past that you may have forgotten. So the emphasis here should definitely be on like a tender, heartfelt kind of scene rather than more grotesque or brutal events. And if you really don't want to dig deep enough to like flesh that out enough, you could just say that you gaze into the pool, and we can kind of leave it at that. But if you do want to just have a fun little role play, kind of shed some like kind of something there that drives your character that you kind of left behind and have forgotten, and like I said, something a little more tender, a little more heartfelt, then I would like you to do that as you stare deep into this pool, and it's kind of like a divination mirror almost as it starts to reflect these different scenes. And so Sanazar, if you'd like to share.
Sure. As Sanazar gazes into the pool, she sees the boat in the dock where she was getting on to go on her first archaeological dig in Chult, leaving her parents and her family behind. And while she has returned home, her home was not returned to her. They were no longer alive when she got back from Chult, and so that was the last time she saw her family.
And as that heavy emotion kind of weighs on you, you start to like feel the fake crossing that's been created here by Sherdeen Sar, this Shadar-kai woman, and her cultist companions. And as your will starts to dip into the Shadowfell, you start to feel this despair start to claw at you, and those memories that are being reflected towards you are so true, and all those doubts and fears and worries about that, and the guilt that you've carried from the things you've left behind and the people, and it starts to weigh on you pretty heavy. And just a quick wisdom saving throw to see how that may affect you, if at all.
You take my inspiration.
So if you want to, you can.
Yeah, do it. Take it.
Ah, shit.
Ow.
Not very helpful. Sorry.
Okay, roll me a d6. So this is kind of like earlier how we had like our pretend flaw for Madeline. You know, you can take it or leave it. That was just me playing fun in the story earlier, of course. This is actually from the module, so but it definitely states that this effect ceases at the end of the adventure. So you could keep it as a flaw if you want to. Sometimes I like to with things like this, or you can not. It's totally up to you. But with the 3, you feel apathy, and it'll give you disadvantage on death saving throws and on dex checks for initiative. That's probably the thing I would leave behind, but you do gain a flaw. Excuse me. This is, if you would keep something, maybe this, if you want to. It's up to you totally, but just for you, Sanazar, right now, you would gain the flaw that you don't believe and you can make a difference to anyone or anything. So, you can kind of reflect that in that vision that you gave us too, and how that made you just suddenly feel as if you just don't feel like you can do anything capable, really. And so the mechanically here, which we're pretty much at the end, so it's not like this is actually going to matter, but it would be, disadvantage on death saves and dex checks for initiative, so that's pretty rough. But as far as the flaw, that's what I would take, or not.
I'm going to keep it all.
So... maybe it's not an ever-present thing, but every once in a while you just feel a little apathetic, and that you just don't really matter, can't do much of anything, and you got to kind of work through that in your adventuring career, or not, totally up to you. And I guess that does shed a little more light on what could potentially happen. To follow that up, I will tell you that you also gain a story award for doing this. called A Renewed Purpose. And so, next up, I would say, just because it makes sense with me to say something there, and then, Ivar, are you saying you would not want to gaze into the pool?
Yeah, I'll gaze in the pool.
Okay, so you'll gaze, and then do you want to give us a story or anything?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so you gaze into the pool, and you'll take. So you just contribute to like the deal with her here, but you won't get the story award or the potential flaw or anything like that. Okay, so I'll take note.
Okay.
Does she look already convinced?
So this will be an individual thing. It's like if you want to do it, you can. If you don't have to.
Okay.
So that's it. I was gonna go. So I was gonna say Madeline. As you kind of gaze, and as you contemplate gazing into the pool here, I would, at least for the sake of this module, I would say you find yourself searching in a way because you had given up a pretty big chunk of yourself earlier with that diary, and now you're kind of being forced to relive something if you choose to. So I'd be curious how you would want to do that if you do.
The things that she sees on the pool is like memories. She sees herself in it, but it's as if it's not her own. Given that she lost it by giving away the diary, she sees another girl with her same face, except she's bedridden, and Madeline went out of their village looking for something for the girl. The girl actually gets up and waves goodbye, waiting for her to come back, but she does not remember a name or anything, or what it is that she's looking for, and that's about it.
So as you gaze and you see this kind of memory that drives you, or you feel like it should, and yet you're trying to really just piece it together, but it's difficult, and it starts to press down on you as the melancholic atmosphere of the Shadowfell kind of tries to pervade your mind. And if you'll make that wisdom save real quick.
Oh no!
She's like, I can't take any more flaws. Okay, so again, this is all just like if you want it or not. You don't have to take it. So if you'll roll a d6.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we'll flesh it out here.
6.
Okay, and just keeping it as what it is, you kind of take on this like blank expression on your face, kind of much like Sanazara, as you kind of gain the apathetic effect as well. Like you feel like you don't believe in yourself really, and you were not going to be able to make a difference to anyone or anything. For you, I'd feel like it would tailor a little more to the fact that as you kind of coming to terms with like having to kind of re-identify yourself, and also you do have that like little nudge in the back of your mind of that person that you were sent, you're gonna do something to try to help them, and you don't want to let that go, and yet it all just seems like so much, and like it'd be a lot easier just to sit in the grass like old Calvin over there, and so you can kind of deal with that as you will, take it or leave it. Says, I don't believe I can make a difference to anyone or anything would be the potential flaw if you wanted it or not. And as we continue, I guess Kippy, you had kind of spoken up there. Would you? Oh, also you'll get the renewed purpose story award there, Madeline, as well. So.
Will be permitted to swim in this thing?
Sure.
Just a dip in the water, and we'll try to look into it.
You see your apathetic friends over here, and you just hop over them, gonna show them how it's done, and you sploosh head forward into the water there, and for a moment it's all normal, and then for a moment it just changes, and everything around you start to see the world through the eyes of the other side, and your friends become a little more like faded out as if they're not really there, and everything around you just takes on this very bleached out black and white appearance as you realize you're in between borders right now of the Shadowfell and the Prime Material. And what would you see?
Kippy would, inside of the pool, see lights of multiple colors, tents with red and yellow or white stripes, and little flaglets on top of them just waving against the wind, and the flashing lights and swirling what looks to be images that are flying in the air when it's actually just magically enchanted. What is that? A broom, or what is that? A duck? It's weird. And then it turns out it's just an image of the Witchlight Carnival, where Kippy is seeing a place that he longs for, longs to see again, longs to come back to. And other than that, the image would also present the inside of the large tent, where you see ladders, diving boards, these nets, and these dangling bars that are suspended in the air by a rope, where performers would get ready to do their shows. And the seats are empty because the show will not yet start. But Kippy remembers peeking into this place and it was one of the most beautiful things he's ever seen. It filled him with hope that from that very high vantage point and wowing the crowd, where all eyes were on him, looking at him with admiration. It's a place where he wanted to be. Then it flashes forward to a scene where Kippy's in the audience and sees a creature that looks a lot like him, in terms of, scales, amphibious nature, and sees that this this pink scaled amphibian gets shot out of a cannon, and then because of the accurate aim by the fellow performers, this other amphibian, pink in scales rather than blue, does a flip, does a twirl, and lands gracefully in a barrel at the opposite side of the tent. And the sploosh of water is accompanied by some glitter, followed by raucous cheers of the audience. And that was the moment where I want to be like them.
And this incredibly vivid memory, you're kind of relishing in it as you're kind of like swimming there, backpedaling, you're backpedaling in the water there. And all of a sudden, though, as the cheers kind of like slowly fade, you feel like something just isn't the same, and this deep saturation of the colors all around you like start to fade till it almost just seems a little gray, everything around you. And all the people who before were like cheering and clapping their hands so loudly now just seem to like have their hands lowered and this like very blank, stoic look on their faces. As you could make me a wisdom saving throw, please.
Let's use my inspiration. Oh, thank God. Okay.
Nice.
But not gonna lie, the flaw was tempting.
So did who gave the inspiration to Sanazara?
That's true. I only rolled a 4. Haha. Never mind. In an alternate unit, I would have rolled a 22.
I forgot. I still have my inspiration. Would it be too late, or?
I'll give you another roll if you wanna take the inspiration and do a re-roll now. I would allow that.
Oh no, I wanted to give it to Kippy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If Kippy, if you want to take the re-roll, if you'll just have to re-roll instead of taking the 22.
Sure, no problem.
Just to give it that little chance, just to see.
Let's see what fate decides today. I clicked it. I promise. If it'll take its time to load, then let's see the first result that pops up. It is a 6.
Oh, okay. So you feel yourself like all of a sudden it feels like you're falling and falling, like you're no longer floating here in this pool, and instead like falling down into despair, into the Shadowfell. And as you do, if you'll roll that d6, let's get something other than 1, 2, or 3.
5.
Dang it.
Oh, darn it.
So again, it definitely does
How
state
about
here.
how about a reroll for another flaw?
Nah, I mean,
No. Okay.
I mean,
okay.
if you want to, sure.
Just to see, because
Because these
I,
are
I, I, I think we'd like to see what other flaws are out there,
I can
just to
only
unlock
state-
everything.
these
Yeah.
are definitely temporary, as it states. But if you would want to keep it, you can. So I don't want to.
Yeah,
My God.
it really is a 2. As
Okay.
much as I would have wanted to try the other ones. Yeah.
So I'll share if nothing comes up, I'll share it at the end. But it looks like that you guys are all very apathetic. It's like almost an insult. It's like everyone just suddenly gives up on life, and they're like, well, I mean, like everyone. Ivan like looks over and he's like, "What's up with you guys? Come on, like we got things to do." Everyone's like, "What's the point?" But yeah, if you want to keep it, this is like a party flaw everyone's gonna gain now, maybe. But it says, "I don't believe I can make a difference to anyone or anything." So yeah, in your heart, you still long to go back to where you felt like your life mattered a little more, and maybe at one point in time you always thought like the grass might be greener on the other side and wanted to see what else was out there and such. And yet, you found that there's no place like home, but you kind of think to yourself, would it be the same? Would they accept me as they did before? And those questions, the answers, and yet you still find that kind of gnawing at you a bit. Alrighty, so I know that was a lot. Nightfall. I guess you would be the last one here if you'd want to take a look.
Yeah, Nightfall's gonna look at it.
And as you take a peek, it should be something that kind of focuses on something a little more tender and heartfelt that really mattered and kind of drives you, or Nightfall, I should say.
Yeah, Nightfall's gonna look at the water and she's gonna see the first time after she hit puberty that she saw the full moon. And her fangs came out, her claws, and she shifted for the first time. And as she's remembering this fond memory of wild wilderness, she kind of shifts on the spot as well. I didn't have the chance to do it during the game, so let's do it now. She is a wild hunt. She's kind of like werewolfy right now. Slightly elongated mouth with big, sharp teeth. And she's remembering her first howl.
All right, I feel like this would be an awesome way to succeed or fail, either way. So yeah, you just you finally show something in yourself that maybe not hidden, but just hadn't quite came out yet, and and you start to let that throaty howl out into the night. And as you do, if you'll make that wisdom save for me.
Yes, because she shifted, she has advantage.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, and yeah, sure enough, you feel enriched by the memory you see there, and you just totally shift into your other form, and your howl kind of echoes long into the night, uninterrupted, as you're able to revel in this a bit more. You do not have to worry about any despair, but you will still get the renewed purpose story award at the end. And as that is everyone, I can go ahead and tell you the story award real quick. It's that you have remembered positive scenes from your past. This might provide some emotional strength to get through troubling times ahead. Of course, it's it states here, and in these days, it's just for this storyline. This might provide additional benefits later on. So I don't even know if that would really even be a thing. I don't know if there are sequels to this or not, really. But for me as a DM, I like to honor story awards because it's like, hey, we get them and stuff. So any story award that someone tries to bring to my table, unless it sounds like ludicrous or whatever, I would most certainly honor. So anyways, I'll include that in a little thing for you in a minute. But a renewed purpose, positive scenes, emotional strength, troubling times ahead. I'll get that. There'll be something you can copy and paste for your log later. But as this ends there, we will kind of come to our conclusion of sorts here with Calvin. As Sardine Sar watches you each kind of dip your toes into the Shadowfell, as it were, and she comes forward and says, "The Raven Queen would be most pleased. It seems it'll be a lot more quiet here after you leave. But remember, we'll always be here to make sure of that." And as quick as she came, the Fae crossing in this kind of thick, obscuring rain, she just kind of dematerializes along with her cronies back there. And finally, old Calvin, he's just been like crumpled this whole time. You could see that the things that he saw of that woman and the little girl and the family life and things like that, it really seemed to weigh on him pretty heavy. And as the danger kind of ends and he comes back, he's like, "Well, I feel I got what I came for. Perhaps I have regained my youth. Maybe not in body, but at least in spirit. Those early days, you know, I always thought the routine daily occurrences would be the death of me. It's easy to try to forget all that stuff and just leave it out of memory. But I realize now those times I shared, just the small moments with my family, those are what make life worth living, truly, even if they do get lost in the banalities of everyday life. Come, my friends, I think we got a bit of a walk back to Elventree." And the rain kind of lightens up enough to where it's not downright unpleasant, but it's still quite a soggy walk back to Elventree. And then as you guys walk, feel free to discuss with yourselves too, of course, the things you've shared, but Calvin most certainly does, as he kind of opens up about his earlier life, and he says, "Sarah, I really loved her. It seems like it was an eternity now, since the sickness took her. She became my wife. We had a son, too, named Ebbins. And he's been living outside of Hillsfar for a while with his wife, Bee. It's been a while since I went out and saw them. I'll admit, I was kind of starting to get a bit resentful. In my old age, I thought they should be the ones to come see me. But I realized that I've been so wrong, and I'm gonna get my affairs in order in Elventree and get me a wagon over to Hillsfar on the immediate. And I gotta say, I may not live forever, but, well, I'm gonna make these last few days or weeks or months or however long it may be, I'm gonna make them count. And I have you a lot to thank for that. I picked this up back there. I thought, you'd find a little more use of it than I would. Didn't look like those elves were really paying any attention to it either, so I think it's fine. But I'd be interested to hear a little more about what you guys feel after this as well. Now you know what I'm going to do. And with that, I'll kind of turn it over to you guys. If you want to discuss anything, as we'll go over some rewards real quick too, as he will give you a decanter of endless water. And as I pop up that handout, you guys can discuss your woes if you want. It's quite an emotional outpouring.
I kind of don't feel anything. It's just like nothing matters. I don't get it.
So, I guess just to give a quick wrap up too, and then maybe this could kind of add into any kind of closeout we do if y'all want to talk about it or whatever. But so as you guys kind of would see yourselves out of this adventure in the normal ways, you collect your reward of gold and such, and take the things that you've been given, and kind of shake the hands of the comrades and friends you've made, and kind of see what's next on your adventures and such. About a year later, each of you receive a letter that states how Calvin, after going to visit his family and enriching his life, he passed away the following spring and he was surrounded by his loved ones and the Elven Tree elders. So he definitely had a better seeing out than he would have. And in his will, he left you guys his house there, as quaint as it can be, but it's definitely there for you there. And as you would each kind of take your share of this, so each of you could stay there and use it as you want here in Elven Tree. You find that in this home, you now find a bunch of recent handcrafted wood carvings. It seems in his last few, months to year leading up to his just peaceful passing, he started to carve a beautiful woman reunited with a young man and holding a young child. And upon his passing, you would get the Quaint Country Home Story Award.
My
1
God.
year. I see.
There also is a Decanter of Endless Water readout, and just for if you like to care about the aesthetic stuff, the Decanter of Endless Water does have one. So I won't post like the story awards. I'll leave here. So this is where you want to copy and paste that, and also the Decanter of Endless Water. The description of it is there on the reward sheet. It says water taken from this flask will glow softly in the moonlight, casting dim light within 5 feet. It does wear off kind of quick, but if you drink it, you can hear mutters of things long forgotten. Could be useful, but also a little discomforting.
Hey, I've got to run. Thank you for the game, everybody.
Hey, it's
Yeah,
a
that's
pleasure to
fun.
have
Thank
you.
you.
Likewise. Sorry, I kind of don't see the where the flavor is placed here in this note.
The flavor, it's the right after it says the Decanter of Endless Water on the From Every Adventure rewards one. It says water taken from the flask glowing softly in the moonlight.
Water poured out in the flask.
So there is like a separate handout for like the generic Decanter of Endless Water, which I'll pop that one up again real quick. So that's just what the regular Decanter of Endless Water does, period, And then just on the little reward sheet, I just put the flavor description on that one. It says Decanter of Endless Water, and then the water taken glows softly in the moonlight, and all that.
Would the glowy part also apply to the geyser? Pretty much like a one-man light show.
That's pretty cool, yeah. Yeah, so thank you guys. Yeah, a little bit of danger, a little bit
Thank you so
of
much.
heartfelt moments, but I was looking forward to this one to kind of celebrate the coming on of spring,
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you for having me. First time playing on the server.
Yeah, I'm really grateful to have you guys kind of jump in last minute there and kind of make the game happen and such. So the show must go on, and so I definitely appreciate that.
You should stick around. The server's got a lot of stuff going on.
I know. I have at least 2 familiar faces from elsewhere that I've recognized by the names at least. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. It was nice playing with everyone.
Yeah.
It's
Good,
really nice to
good
meet you.
job, everyone. See you guys later. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Kelly,
Bye-bye.
Can I
Thank
confirm?
you.
Can I confirm on this apathy thing? Is it dexterity saving throws or death saving throws?
So it was initiative and death saving throws.
Great.
So I think this is probably something that comes up in other stuff too, because it's labeled as Shadowfell Despair. It's like a little table to roll on.
Is it it's wait, is it permanent?
No, it says this effect ceases at the end of the adventure, and then of course with like current AL stuff too, you could just cleric it away at the end anyways. But yeah, so you don't have to. That's why I was trying to stress that, like, if you want to, like, I have a character who has like snake eyeballs, and he's like almost completely hairless, and what little hair is there is like bleached white and stuff. So yeah, he's like, hello everyone. He's like this monstrosity now. He's like, oh well, I got snake blood in me.
No, seriously, Sanazara doesn't know she's cursed or whatever. She's going to keep it until someone notices that things are wrong. So I plan on keeping it.
Yeah, so just to complete it there, it says apathy. The character has disadvantage on death saving throws and on dex checks for initiative, and gains the following flaw. I don't believe I can make a difference to anyone or anything. And if you were curious, the other one was Dread. It would have been disadvantage on saving throws, on all saving throws, and you'd gain the following flaw. I am convinced that this place is going to kill me. That one would have been funny. And the last one says Madness. You'd have disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws that use intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, and you'd get a flaw that says, I can't tell what's real anymore. So I guess this time around everybody was just super apathetic, but maybe in the future you might feel something else.
Maybe.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I know I'll be kind of switching to Mondays my time. It's still kind of early, or it'll be around the same time as today's, but it'll be, at the beginning of the week rather than later in the week. So I'd hope to see some of y'all there if possible. And then my future schedule might get changed completely. I'll just have to see what my next job brings. That being said, I do know there is a CCC-S Dream adventure going to be ran this month as well in the server by one of our players here even today. Reese is running, is it the Best Laid Plans of Gnomes?
No,
Yep,
is that
tier
a
three.
good idea?
Yep, so tier 3, it's just getting posted, or was just posted. I'd have to check, but yeah, check on Warhorn for that, or keep an eye out. So that'd be cool to play both of those in the same month. Oh,
Nice. Oh, yeah.
oh, and I'll get everything in the session log, of course. But I'm ending stream now.